Hello and welcome to the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. My name is Rim. I'm an artist, a certified life coach and an NLP practitioner, and the creator of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative retreats. Passionate about celebrating joy and beauty in the everyday, especially when things are falling apart, I'm insatiably curious about human nature, and I look into the world with reverence, awe, and a sense of wonder. Tune in for stories exploring healing through creativity, art, embracing sensitivity, and navigating the subconscious mind. I'll talk about the struggles that highly sensitive and creative people face, and share my experiences, insights, and favorite tools along the way. I'm here to empower you to turn what we often deem to be a curse into your biggest gift. I believe that the more we create together, the more we heal the world. So let's dive in. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered, Sensitive and Creative podcast. I'm so happy and grateful for you tuning in. Today is part 2 of my conversation with Lauren Halberstadt. In part 1, which aired last week, we talked about sensitivity, creativity, and education in the midst of political turmoil, and how Lauren came to recognize her hypersensitivity at various junctions in her life and how her creativity saved her each and every time. Today, we're digging deeper into the creativity part. Lauren shares with us her daily habit for getting into creative flow and quieting the mind, how she developed self-trust and intuition, and how creativity is the salt of life. Without further ado, let's dive in. Anyway, that brings me to another topic that I think you love, doodling.
Oh, yes.
We exchanged on Instagram because you talk a lot about doodling, and I remember there was one post I told you, well, I started my doodling career when I was at school because
Yeah.
exactly I didn't enjoy the teaching methods, and because I've always felt I think I would learn much better if I'm having fun, if it's
Yeah.
more playful.
Yeah.
And I found the teaching was like too
Yeah.
well, anyway, and so I began doodling, and also so because if the topic didn't really interest me, or the way it was taught didn't interest me, or the energy or whatever, maybe I was tired, or many things, many factors.
Mm. Mm.
I think I noticed that the only way for me to stay sitting and not feeling restless or falling asleep was to doodle. But I think it came naturally. I even didn't realize, that just doodling. And somehow I realized when I doodle, somehow the information is coming in more in my head.
Yeah.
And the time goes by.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to check my watch every 5 seconds
Yeah.
out
And
of
did you
boredom.
find and did you find that it was kind of like your mind or your brain's way of trying to process how you were feeling and what you were going through at the time, and kind of, because that for me is the most powerful thing about doodling.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. I didn't know that back then. I realized afterwards in hindsight.
yeah.
As an adult, I realized that, there is benefits to
Yeah,
doodling.
yeah, exactly. Like I've been reading up a lot about creativity and the creative impulses and how they come and they go. They're basically little like light sparks that they just appear and they disappear and they appear and they disappear. And when you engage in an activity like doodling that is just really allowing the space for the brain and the mind to receive almost like those little impulses, to kind of like invite them in. It's such an important part. I just wish that everybody woke up in the day and just took 5 minutes to doodle. Like seriously, just to doodle. It would it's such a wonderful mindful activity to be able to invite those creative impulses in. And it's not necessarily to inspire you to become a super duper artist or, the next scientist that's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize or anything like that. It's just you're allowing your body and your mind to invite the opportunities that could present themselves to you. You're inviting them in, and then they're yours to do and decide on what you want to do with them after that. But at least you're just making yourself accessible to new thoughts and different things, really. Yeah. So
And how
doodling, a wonderful thing.
it is, and how invaluable for a perfectionist, or not a perfectionist, someone with perfectionist tendencies. I think it's good not to assimilate ourselves to something. Like having perfectionist tendency doesn't have to make us a perfectionist.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
kind of
Yeah,
taking some distance from it.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Because you
yeah,
don't have control over how that pen moves, you know. You don't have
yes,
any
exactly.
physical control. So the doodle at the end of the day, it may, more than likely is never going to be a perfect doodle. I mean, what is a perfect doodle anyway? You know?
Did you see those artists who are carving amazing careers out of doodling nowadays? Like there's Mr. Doodle and I don't know who else, but I've seen so many. They are just doodlers. They master the art
Yeah,
of doodling. They found their
yeah,
way. They found their
yeah,
style, their doodling style, and they're covering everything. They're covering
yeah,
walls, clothes,
yeah,
books, whatever, and packaging, and they're doodling away.
yeah, yeah,
And I'm sure
yeah.
they're enjoying it so much.
Yes, well, I hope so. I think, and I hope that it's not, because when it becomes like amazing to that degree of amazingness, suddenly the end result becomes more important than the journey, and that's when it can go wrong, because the whole thing about doodling is the journey, is the actual process of you opening up your mind and listening out and looking out for those creative impulses. And the end result is, well, okay, there it is on a piece of paper. It's on a scrap piece of paper anyway, so I'm just going to either put it in the bin or whatever. But that's not really that important. What is more important is how is the process and me getting to that. Yeah,
I agree. I agree. Doodling is is kind of the form of yoga, I think.
it is. It's yoga for
Sorry,
the
what did you
brain.
say? Oh, yoga for the brain. Yeah.
Mm,
I think
for
it
sure.
it leads us to be comfortable, to learn to find ease and spaciousness in our brain, but also in our hand. I think it helps to trust our hands.
Yeah,
It's funny how somehow through the education process, I'm not saying it's school that is bad. I think it's just part of being in a very rational society. We forget, like we write, okay, now we type on the computer most of the time, but it's as if we forget that our hands are here. We think it's all here.
yeah,
Our mind, our
yeah,
thoughts, our brain that have to produce something, but we forget that actually our hand is doing it, is also doing the work. And
yeah.
it's our hand. It's not separate from us. It's not a hand coming from the sky. It's
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
when you do some sports, it's your body that has to do, even though your brain tells your brain is telling you, you're sending information to your to your leg
mm,
or to whatever. It's still your
mm,
body that it has to do the thing. It's the
yeah,
same. And I
yeah,
found that doodling, making something creative, manual with your hands anyway, any kind of art is very beneficial. But I think doodling in particular helps us to remember like to build a stronger connection to our hands.
Yeah. Yeah. As much as the digital world and technology has advanced so fast and so hugely, we mustn't forget about our roots, like these things and how important they are for us and our survival.
Yeah. Isn't it also a way to remember that we have bodies and we are not just mind? We are
For
just
sure.
not thoughts. We are not just productivity. We're not just.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
We also need to go forward in our world and develop new things. It's part of human nature to
Sure.
grow and develop and expand. But if we do it, if only for sake to know, like it's to develop resourcefulness as well. That's what I mean. To know
Yeah.
that you don't only depend on technology. You don't only depend
Yeah.
on the modern world. You can also do things on your
Yeah.
own with your hand, with the power of your hands, and just
Yeah.
the know-how, and also to develop your creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of bringing the balance, finding the balance, I think. As with anything, we have to find the balance. And too much of one thing is never good it's never a good thing. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't doodle all day either. 5-10 minutes in the beginning of the day, that's enough for me. I move on to other things. But also, me sitting at my computer doing digital design work all day is not good for me either. So, it's just a matter of finding the balance between, well, I
Yeah,
say my doodling is my playtime and my design work is my work time. So I'm finding the balance between play and work. And
yeah, yeah,
certainly
I agree.
brings a lot more peace and calm into my life doing that.
I think it's kind of personal hygiene.
Yeah,
you know it's
yeah,
it is it's like you. Yeah, it's for me, I see it as a way of taking care of myself.
yeah,
uh
yeah, for
Playing
sure.
is self-care, not playing all day long all the time, but instilling, like making time for that, making time for mindless creativity, making time for doing something with your body, a sort of physical activities, also hygiene, but
Yeah,
also developing your creativity. Resting
yeah,
your mind and developing your creativity is personal hygiene,
yeah,
is self-care.
yeah, exactly. Just allowing that inner child, to come out every now and again. Um, and playing and experimenting, just exploring where that mark, where your hand is leading you, the mark that you're making on the marks that you're making on the paper. So powerful. But yeah, balance.
So what do you do with your doodles? Do you watch them? Do you look at them afterwards? You try to analyze them, or you just do your doodles and then push them away and move on with your day?
Push them away and move on with my day. Yeah, I don't really analyze them at all. I mean, yeah, we can open up that whole thing of the more curvy, wavy lines, and things are a little bit more serene and at peace, and whereas where they're more rigid and geometric and that sort of thing, then maybe there's a little bit more angst in the life at the time or whatever. But I just doodle really for the sheer joy of the process and not really the end result. No.
Yeah,
How about you?
yeah.
Do you analyze yours?
Mm, not really. I don't analyze, but I noticed that over the years I tend to to doodle in a bit on an obsessive way. Not obsessive, but I realized, wow, the same shape are coming back again and again and again. And
Oh yeah,
I was just curious about it, but I didn't try to overanalyze it. And
yeah. Well, that's good though.
something,
I think that's good.
yes, I'm glad, because I think overanalyzing could become
Yeah.
dangerous for my mental health. And I know I
Yeah.
do naturally have the tendency to overanalyze.
Yeah.
I think many
Yeah.
HSPs do,
Yeah.
overthinking.
Yeah.
And and trying to find meaning in things. And I'm not gonna lie, I do love to find meaning. Yeah, why am I doing this podcast?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's okay not to have meaning, or maybe there is meaning, but we don't need to know. Maybe we don't need to know, or maybe we will know when it's time. Just like what we spoke about, like trauma comes back at your face when
Mm.
you're ready to face it. Well, maybe the
Yeah.
meaning will come to you when it's time, and you don't
Yeah.
I feel like it's like being curious for me. It's like, okay, if you observe something, you notice something, okay, you can get curious. Just being curious, saying, oh, interesting, I noticed this. I'm wondering, like, what's the idea behind it, or something like that. Just saying this and then letting go of that, it's really
Yeah.
helpful, because by doing
Yeah.
this, you're already sending an instruction to your subconscious mind, and it's
Mm.
like instructing your subconscious mind to find the answers for you, or to process it. And someday you will get the answer, but even in a
Mm.
way you didn't think about, or you don't expect this moment, but suddenly you have this, oh, haha, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
it's like that for many things, and I'm practicing this more and more. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't have the answer, I'm instructing my subconscious mind to find the answer for me.
Find it. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's really amazing. It's good.
yeah, and I think doodling in a way is a way of instructing our subconscious mind. It's like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
just pouring things out, and the subconscious mind will make things out of that. It's like
Exactly.
when you meditate, you're not supposed to, like, meditating, the point of meditating is letting go of control, letting go of trying to make sense of everything. It's just
Yeah.
quiet, and
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
within. I think doodling is going within, and that's it. And later on, after the meditation, very often when you do meditation, you don't have the answers right away, but later, during another time, poof, you have an insight, you have inspiration, you have intuition
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, for sure. I think that's a wonderful way of looking at it, actually. Yeah.
And creativity, I mean, is it something that we can control? That's the danger, I think, when we work in a design environment. In
Mm.
design, sometimes we tend to be so much focused on the mind and how the end product.
Mm.
I'm gonna do this, but it needs to have a story, and it needs to have an end result, and it needs to be convenient, it needs to be practical, it needs to serve a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a
Yes,
deadline.
yes.
Yeah. Don't get me started on the deadlines. No, you can't control creativity at all. It's going to arrive when it's ready to arrive, when you invite it in, and it's not going to arrive when you're stressed and thinking about the deadlines and thinking about that end result. Absolutely no way. So the way to approach it is really just to approach it in a fun and playful way. Just to think back like how we used to create as children, you know? We used to just grab that paper and that pen or whatever and just put marks on that page. And that was the fun part. More often than not, those pieces of paper used to go in the bin, but it didn't matter because you didn't know. Your mother was just like, well, this is how I was with my children. They would create and create and create, and there were so many different pieces of paper, but I would like keep the ones that were really cute, and then the ones that were like, oh, they did that in a rush, I'm just going to go into the bin. But they didn't know because it was not the end result that was important to them. It was the actual fun of doing it, right?
Yeah, sometimes by making mistakes or doing the wrong thing, we discover something new also, and something interesting,
Yeah.
by trying and
Yeah.
experimenting.
Yeah. Precisely. We would really change the world if we led a country, don't you think? And we got more people to doodle. Imagine how much more
Definitely.
peaceful our world would be.
I think if more sensitive people were daring enough, feeling trust enough, like self-trust, and believed in their sensitivity and their creative, like innate creativity. I think everybody is creative for sure,
Mm,
but
mm,
like everybody has feelings and everybody has sensitivity, like some sort of some degree, except the psychopath and extremely narcissistic people. But I'm not talking about those.
no, I don't
Let's
deserve the
say
attention.
yes, but the thing about HSPs is they're so connected to the world, to nature, to their humanity, to their senses, to
Yeah.
the whole thing, the global
Mm,
universe thing, the earth, the ecosystem. If
yeah.
they can just let it, take it as a beautiful thing, as a powerful thing, and express it more, so create
Mm,
more, be more in touch with their creativity, then it would also show other people who are less sensitive to stop and smell smell the roses.
yeah.
And I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
there would be less, and there would be much less problems and less wars, and less problems at home, but problems in the family. Like problems start in the family, and then at school, and then at work, and then in a neighborhood, and then in society, and then in a country, and then in a continent, and so on. But then if we
Yeah.
start from the beginning, enjoy life, enjoy the beauty, create, like,
Yeah.
don't be so caught up in the and the
Mm,
mind chatter and the control and the pain
mm.
and all of
And just,
that. Then
yeah, just trying to be successful, as in the usual success um, indicators, as in how much money you earn, what car you drive, what house you live in, or, none of that really matters at the end of the day. If we're just um,
yeah,
come back to our creativity and focus on, yeah, just getting back to that.
in your experience in South Africa, I know it's not what you're doing anymore, but when you were back there teaching art to those kids who led really difficult lives, did you see what kind of impact did you see it had on their lives?
I think it was just really a leveler. Like, everybody in the classroom was automatically on the same playing field. Like, there was no one better, there was no one better off, no one worse off. Everybody was just the same, and suddenly the stress was gone. And they could, retreat into their own worlds and just go for their lives, just create whatever they, of course, I used to give them specific activities, and they did need to stick to the task at hand, but there was no prerequisites for however the outcome needed to look, and I think that really was a wonderful thing, because automatically there was no pressure to perform, and there was no one was going to be better off or worse off or whatever. Um, that Yeah, just the pressure. There was no pressure. The pressure existed outside the classroom, but once they came into my classroom, they just let it go. Just you know let's just go into our own worlds, and let's see what's lurking in there.
And find joy again
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, because I know sometimes, often, we can be taxed of, you are so naive. What do you think? That the world is gonna be so nice and cute suddenly just because you make art?
No.
No, that's not what we're saying. Of course, like Well, part of being a human being, part of being on Earth, it is full of tragedy and hard things, and yet it's also full of beautiful things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's
So
exactly
how
right. And as we were saying before, like finding the balance, it's finding the balance, you know. We can't deal with tragedy and turmoil when we're faced with it all the time. We need to find opportunities to be able to retreat from that, and yeah, find the joy again in our lives.
it
Um,
makes us stronger and more resilient.
does. Yeah, for sure. It does make us stronger and more resilient. Yeah. We are able to cope
Totally.
way more and way easier when we're suddenly faced with the turmoil again, you know?
Mm. Yes,
Yeah.
and I find that often by taking this time off from all of that anxiety, stress, challenges, struggles, it's like we recharged, as you said, like we recharged our battery, but somehow we begin to see things slightly differently.
Mm,
New solutions,
yeah.
like we're more open. It opens up to more different solutions that maybe we wouldn't think about before because we're so much. Sorry, I'm losing my
Yeah.
earbuds. We're so much into this. I
Yeah.
have to resist. I
Yeah.
have to perform. I have to control. I have to fight. I have to prove.
Mm. It's
But
exhausting.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Inviting those new opportunities in, it was like I was saying before, you know, those creative impulses that are trying to show us a new way of doing things. We need to find the time and um, make the space for them to present themselves so that we can receive them.
definitely. And
Mm.
what advice? Because I know we talked about this a bit before, like when you were a mom, right? You're still a mom, but when you were raising your kids, you found yourself very, very busy. Suddenly, you have so many things to do, and you have little time for yourself. But even for those who listen to us who are not parents, like I'm not a parent, and I also had to deal with this impression that, oh my God, time is scarce. I need to have so many things to do. Like, what advice can you give to those who want to make time for creativity, for doodling, for anything, something with their hands, or, but they're like, okay, yes, thank you. That's really nice. But I have so many things to do, so many things to deal with. My life is tough. I'm struggling. I have to have multiple jobs. I have family to raise. I have duties, all of these things.
Yeah,
So what you're
yeah,
saying is just for privileged people. Thank you.
yeah.
What
No,
advice would you give them?
yeah, yeah. It's to take the 5 to 10 minutes for yourself. It's so valuable because when you take the 5 to 10 minutes for yourself, and it doesn't have to be doodling, it can be anything, you know, it can be walking outside, it can be um, cooking, it can be anything that you really enjoy. It's to find the joy again in those activities. It's allowing your brain to process and manage your stress, process and manage your decision making for the day. When you do those kinds of things, suddenly the day um, gets a lot clearer. So, yes, it might take 5 to 10 minutes of your time, but it's going to save you time throughout the rest of the day because
Yes.
suddenly your brain and your mind is just in focus. It has found the purpose for the day. It's made the plan, and it's gonna, you're kind of like telling yourself, giving yourself permission now to go out there and conquer because you know what you're doing. Like you've got the plan all sorted. And yeah, like I know that there are a lot of external factors that are going to try and mess up the plan, but if you've really taken the time to be yourself and to find the peace and the joy again, you can then deal with all of those external factors a lot better as well. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I agree. And I think it's okay, like you can start the day by doodling, but if one day you didn't, or doodling or another activity like that, I mean, it's okay. You can, I personally, I don't necessarily doodle first thing in the morning. I do
Yeah.
sometimes I don't. And well, anyway, for me, I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
never
I
stick
mean,
to
it's
the
going to be
same.
different for everybody, right? Yeah.
But sometimes I would doodle when I feel stuck with something. Let's say I have to write an essay, or I have to write something that is important for me. So I feel more stressed because I feel
Yeah.
like, when I find myself caught up in the mode of, oh, I have to perform, then I get a bit restless, and obviously inspiration doesn't come, so I get
Yeah.
stuck. In that case, I could totally take a piece of paper and doodle,
Yeah.
just to empty my mind. It could be
Yeah.
that sometimes I can be doing something else, like go out
Mm,
and
mm,
shake or dance or play
yeah.
percussion, whatever. But sometimes it's doodling, and it's great. It works.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. It doesn't have to be done at the beginning of the day. You find the time when it's suitable for you. Um, that's not going to
And when
make it
it's
more
needed,
stressful for you as well.
it's like a warm up. Before you go and do a race, you have to warm up your muscles.
Yeah.
So you have to warm up your brain. You have to warm up your
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
thoughts or whatever. What you sometimes, so doodling can help, or
Mm.
another creative activity.
Yeah. No, exactly. The brain is a muscle at the end of the day. So, yeah, warming up the
Ye-
muscle.
What does it mean for you being an empowered, sensitive, and creative person for you?
What does it mean to be empowered, sensitive, and creative? Well, I just think that if I were to embrace all of those things and be comfortable in my own skin and say, there's nothing to be afraid of or be embarrassed about or any of that, I'll be finding the joy again in my life. Like, suddenly I've found my confidence because I know who I am and I'm proud of who I am. And yeah, and it kind of gives me the power back to control my own life. Yeah.
Beautiful. And if a genie appears, whoo, hello. I'm your genie. I can grant you 3 wishes. What do you want?
First and foremost, I think I would like to travel more, be able to um, go to Europe. I've always wanted to go to Italy, and it's escaped me all these years. So I would love to go and travel more, but I need to work out a way of taking my dog because my little Coco is super important for me. So my second wish I'd have to use on Coco, that she'd have to come with me. I don't know how that would be possible, but anyway, Genie, make it
Why
work.
not? Why not? I traveled from China to Europe with my 2 cats.
I know it's possible. Like, I know that you can get, like, when you enter Italy, there's no quarantine. I've already researched it. I can get her
Yeah.
in there, but it's coming back to Australia. They're so
Ah,
fussy and so strict that she'd have to go 2 weeks in quarantine. I know that's not a very long time, but it's long for them, and that would just break my
yeah.
heart, and then
Mm.
I'd think, oh, it's making me happy taking her, it's being very selfish.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
really
yeah.
thinking about her and her well-being. So yeah, Jeannie, please answer that question for me. And then my
Instruct your subconscious, ask your
yeah.
subconscious, and it will find ways. It will show you the answer when it's the moment.
Yeah, okay, okay. And then I think my last wish would be to help everybody, everyone in the world. Well, no, that's pretty impossible. To help as many people as possible find their creative spirit again, and find rediscover how powerful our creative voice can be, like for our well-being, for our businesses, for what we do in the world. Yeah, it's the answer. And I hope more people could find it for themselves.
Yes, yes, yes. And oh, I have a question for you. What is creative energy for you?
Creative energy is, oh, it's the joy, it's the peace, it's the calm, it's the bringing back to center. Um, it's the solution that you've been searching for. I don't know. That's pretty much it, I think. It's my
All
savior.
right.
Creative energy is my savior.
Yeah. And we all have it.
Me too. Yeah. All we
I
need to
believe
do is
so.
just go out and find it.
All right. And tell me, if you were a color, what color would you be?
I think I would be aquamarine.
Oh, that's very precise. I love that. I can see you're a designer.
Oh, yes, yes. It's not just any color of blue green, it's aquamarine. I am definitely in tune with more with water. So maybe that has to do a little bit with my astrology. I don't know whether I'm more in tune with water signs or something. But I am very happy, and I'm happiest when I'm by the ocean. So, and that color is the color. Well, here in Australia, we have the most beautiful water. The color is that aquamarine color, and it's just
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Lovely. And if you were a texture,
Um, bark. This came to me
what
straight
did you say?
away. Bark, as in the tree trunk, bark.
Ah, okay. Oh, so interesting. It's funny
Yeah.
because I had the same vision in my head. Just when you
Oh,
said, just right before you said bark, when I said texture, I got this in my face.
really? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, like I marvel at we live in we live inland and we have a lot of trees. In Australia, of course, you've got the eucalyptus trees. There are so many different species of eucalyptus trees, and every single one of them is slightly different. If you weren't an expert, and I'm not, they all look the same, but um, I marvel at their trunks and how detailed that bark is. And then, there are other trees, of course. The leopard tree is just amazing with all its beautiful markings and look like leopard spots and that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm fascinated with tree trunks. And of course, I am a tree hugger. Any given moment, I will go and hug a tree because I love the energy that they give off.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I love trees too. They're amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
And a scent?
Ascend?
Yeah.
Yes. Probably the rose. Pretty dear to the heart and love their scent.
What if you were a flavor?
Salt. Love salt.
Oh,
So
and
yes.
creativity. And creativity is the salt of life.
Yes, there we go. Thank you for doing it so well. Thanks, Rem.
My pleasure. You see, my subconscious was looking for. I instructed my subconscious, find some links between things, please, and then.
Yeah, that's it. You're on fire.
And finally, tell me, if you were a sound, what would you be?
Yeah, I think water trickling. I've got to go back to water again. The trickle of water. Oh, it's so calming. Love it. I could listen.
I
I
agree.
could fall asleep to water trickling. Oh, the rain. Like rain on falling on the roof and trickling down into the drain pipe.
Yes, I
Yeah,
agree.
so
It's so
soothing.
calming.
Yeah, yeah. No, and all these things that I've listed, and all my tastes and sounds and smells and textures and things, they're all to do with nature. It's my lifeblood for sure.
Yes,
Mm,
totally. And I'm
yeah,
not asking this question just like that. Because I think it's so important to remember this, especially for highly sensitive people, because we have this ingrained, like we're lucky. We feel and sense these things, so our senses are very well developed. So why not use it to our advantage to help us calm down, process, eliminate stress, and
so
and
true.
let inspiration flow. So, like, for example, for you, everything that you said, you can connect to that whenever you want.
Yeah,
Just like, like just when you were answering my question already, you could project yourself in it, like you closed your
yeah,
eyes, you already imagine it. And as you imagine and you project, you feel it in your body. And as you feel it in your body, you're sending your subconscious
yeah,
instruction. Remember that this means well-being, this means feeling calm, this means feeling grounded, which means that next time you're stressed, you can call this in.
yeah, yeah.
It's,
Access
and
it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, super interesting. Really. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you for your time. And before we go, I would like to ask you, how can people find out more about you? How can they work with you? What can you help them with?
Okay. So I have an Instagram account, Greenhouse by Lauren. And it, within my little greenhouse, which is a virtual greenhouse on Instagram, and in there I have two products. I'm growing two things. One is Sprout, and the other is Evergreen. Sprout is a creative branding course online. So if anybody is looking to do an intuitive branding course where they look into all things design, and I do it according to the seasons as well. So it all depends on how the kind of experience that you want your clients to have as they work with you, and that I link to the seasons in my special way. So your business will either become a spring brand or a summer or a winter or an autumn, and then we go on to choose all our design elements according to that season. So we choose photos, we choose textures. Textures are so important to the designer. Um, Patterns, illustrations, and all those good things. So that by the end of your Sprout journey, content creation is no longer a bother because you have gone through the course and built up your banks of photos and your banks of textures and your banks of this and that patterns and all the rest of it. And when you come to post or put a website together or whatever, and you need visual material, you can tap into all of those resources that you've been building over the course of Sprout. And so, yeah, Sprout is very much to do with branding, whereas Evergreen is all about creativity and how to spark creativity. It is a membership as well. So um, people gain access firstly to the once a month online art classes where we do some doodling, but we also go into various artistic techniques, using different media, but all keeping it very simple. So yeah, that happens once a month. And then in between the months, in between those online calls, you can access other things in the membership, like videos called Mindful Moments, where you can go in and choose one and doodle on your own. Masterpieces is teaching you how to paint flowers, or that kind of. So it's a little bit more arty, the masterpieces section. And then I also have an art gallery, which is a community where all evergreens can come and post their work and cheer each other on. So you meet each other in the online class, and then you can continue the conversation in the evergreen community. Sprout has a community as well, but that operates a little bit differently. But all in all, I'm very much community focused, and I want all my learners to be able to link up with each other and inspire each other and cheer each other on, because that's what life should be all about. We should be here for each other, not against each other, and no anywhere near. So there's no competition anywhere near any of my classes. And that's it in a nutshell.
Amen. And I see in you that you inherited your parents' horticulturist genes. You're nurturing your students or your members.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yep, exactly right. It all just kind of happened that way. I came to, setting up my business and setting up an Instagram account, and I was like, I wonder what I'm going to call it. Oh, well, I've always wanted to have a greenhouse. I think I'm going to have a greenhouse, virtual greenhouse. Let's call it greenhouse. But of course, you can't have greenhouse on Instagram because everyone's got greenhouse. You have to get creative with the actual word. So that's when I thought, oh, greenhouse by Lauren, and bring myself into it.
No, it's nice to have your name.
Yeah.
It's not about, sometimes people think, oh, I should not put my name because it's not about me. No, but we need to recognize you, to remember you. It's about your students, but it's also about your energy. You do infuse your energy into the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren. I love chatting with you. I will put all the links of your Instagram, your website, and everything on the show notes. And thank you so much for this conversation. I really enjoyed talking with you.
I've loved it. It's been amazing getting to know you, a little bit more about you as well. So thank you for having me. Really, really super privileged to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.
See ya. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and that it inspired you to cultivate your creative spirit as well, to engage in a creative self-care practice, be it doodling or something else with your hands. Personally, I love a combination of practices. I like to mix it up, keep it playful and exciting. Really, the key takeaway here is we all have creative energy within. We are all creative spirit. We just need to tap into it. We just need to make a bit of space for it during the day. Listen to it. Listen to our inner guidance. Listen to our intuition. It's there. It's within you. And it's powerful. If this resonates with you and you would love to learn more about how to reconnect to yourself, how to listen to your body, how to connect to your senses, how to be more in touch with your authenticity so that you can lead life according to your own terms, I'd love to invite you to join me and a small group of like-minded souls for a very special retreat in beautiful Provence, for 5 magical days to reignite your dormant dreams and desires while cultivating new and exciting possibilities. This will be next June, 6th to 11th of June 2024, so it's next year, and I call it an enchanted interlude in the Biosphere Reserve of Luberon Regional Nature Park. This is lovely, lovely place in the south of France. There is a kind of magic vibe to that place, particularly beautiful in June, with the various shades of greens of the Garrigue and the azure blue sky, the vibrant ochres of the Provençal Colorado, is a natural paradise that invites your heart to soar. This amazing retreat will touch on all your senses and all aspects of your being: physical, emotional, mind, creative, and soul. You'll walk the ochre canyons, listen to the sounds of wildlife, share laughters, give free rein to your creative expression, and relax into rediscovering lost dreams and new possibilities as you celebrate and uncover the next chapter of your life. We will meet our inner wisdom through mindful and creative practices led by me and other local healers: sketching, drawing, watercolor painting, wildlife birdsong reflexology, walks in nature, a cooking workshop, and a herbalist walk. By the end of our 5 nights together, you'll be relaxed, re-inspired, and ready to dive into the next chapter of your life with clarity and newfound confidence in yourself. If this is for you, you can find all the information on my website, creativenergy.com, and I also put all the links in the show notes. If you have further questions, you are not entirely sure if this is for you, or you would like to learn more, to know more about the retreat, feel free to reach out. I am now opening 30 minutes free exploration calls. I'm calling this Retreat Exploration Chat, where you can ask all the questions you have and I can tell you more about the retreat and we can see together if this is the right thing for you. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if it has inspired you, please share it around you. Also, if you feel called to it, please subscribe to the podcast and leave me a review. It really helps to spread the word out. All your questions are welcome. You can send them to me on Instagram at rim.creativenergy.com or email me via my website rimcreativenergy.com, and don't worry, I'll share in the show notes exactly where to find me. Until next time, sending you loving creative energy.